Hey everybody, it's Dimensions of the Supernatural with Maureen Grudzinski, that's me, and my amazing co-host Anthony Seminelli, otherwise known as
Mr. Forget About It. How you doing?
We have an amazing guest tonight, and I think it's only, I don't want to say normal because nothing's ever normal on our show. It's a great idea to let him introduce himself. This is...
Hi, everybody. I'm Al Sanariga. I'm the founder of Bronxville Paranormal Society. I'm the director of the New York State Sasquatch Organization, the director of the New York State Dogman Project, director of the New York State UFO Project, and I'm also the North American Dogman Project director for New York State chapter.
That's a lot.
That's awesome. Awesome. Busy person.
So, hi Andy. Hi Ron. That's a big background.
Yeah, well, you know what? When I started the BPS team, which is the Bronxville Paranormal Society, we just covered everything anyway. Like from the get-go, we just kind of believed that it was all connected, you know. But when we started getting invited to symposiums, people had issues with a paranormal group being at a UFO conference, so we had so the BPS is the parent company, and all the other brands underneath us are same team, same group of guys, but we just have different banners when we go to different symposiums, so no one gets bent out of shape.
That's awesome.
So, how many Paracons have you been to?
We've been to quite a few. We've done a few over the years. New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. Been invited up to Rhode Island a bunch of times. Never got up there. What else did I get invited to? I got invited to a Bigfoot conference in Nebraska recently. That's on an Indian reservation. Oh, wow. And I got invited to another one in Arkansas. So, you know, we get invited to a lot of stuff. It's just a matter of getting there. You know what I mean? We have lives, we have real
time
lives.
And money.
And yeah, time and money. And we have real lives and we have real families. So it's just not easy for us. I mean, we've had the team together for, I don't even know how many years. And I would go out on a limb to say that the whole team has never been on one investigation. Someone has always had to work. Someone was always sick. You know what I mean? Over the years. So I don't think the whole team has ever been on one investigation together. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? We just roll with the punches.
Yeah. It's a lot of times it's when you have teams, you always have somebody that can't go and another person could. And then how about the people that are going to go and then the last minute they can't go for whatever reason. You know,
absolutely.
You know, we have our personal lives, jobs,
responsibilities.
Besides, we're really all into all this the paranormal and your Bigfoot and everything else. But you have to make time for your family and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, this stuff
that's the big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, this stuff will definitely take you, if you allow it, it will definitely take you away from your family. You have to keep it in check, otherwise you will lose control very easily in this field. Absolutely, yeah.
You have to learn to deal with the living before you can deal with the spirits, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You know? Yeah.
But I mean, we make the best of it. We do what we can. We go where we can. We get where we can, and like I said, we just keep rocking and rolling, and you know, we're always doing something. There's always somewhere to investigate or something to investigate or something to do. And we just, you know, we go out every chance we get. I was actually at the shooting range today, and I met a couple of girls that work there, and they gave me some great locations to go to up in Kingston, New York. I mean, just the backstories are amazing, and you know, they're from the area. So they said, "Oh, you got to go to this place, you got to go to that place, you got to do this." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely, you know, this is close to home for me. It's only a half hour away, and I'll definitely, you know, get up there and hit these locations, you know." But so we do what we can, try to protect yourself as much as we can, not bring home any hitchhikers and stuff like that,
Yeah, yeah, that's the problem. I mean, how many things follow you home?
Yeah, and like I know, the
Yeah.
longer you do this, the more the odds go up of bringing a hitchhiker home, no matter what you do. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You could just stage. You could do all the kind of prayers and everything. Something always will attach to you and follow you home. If it's not because of it's an attachment that they might feel that they have something related with you, or maybe just it's something that they attach to you because maybe your personality or something to remind them of something in their past, or you know, as a spirit, they did have life, so maybe they remind you of maybe a brother or a husband or something like that, son. So you're always going to get a hitchhiker, follow you back. So it's
Yeah.
nothing.
And I had an ascension about 2 inches ago, and after that ascension, I was told by every single medium that I ever known that I'm vibrating at a higher frequency, and I have to do more protection, and things are definitely going to try to attach itself to me now because I'm like a beacon, and all kinds of stuff, and it's true. I mean, it really is true. I've had a couple of attachments over the years, but nothing that ever came home with me. They stayed where they were. But definitely, knowing that something was attached to you, knowing that you're not yourself. And my partner Brian calls me on it every single time, and I'm in denial because I don't want to say something's attached to me, but I can feel that I'm off. You know what I mean? And he can tell that I'm off, and it's it's just sometimes it's just a matter of leaving the location and breaking that attachment. So
Yeah. So the first time I ever heard the word Sasquatch was $1 Million Man. Remember that?
Oh God, yes, absolutely.
When they had Bigfoot. That's the first time I ever heard the word Sasquatch, because before it was Bigfoot. So that's the first time I ever heard it, and ever since then I was always interested in Bigfoot and all those different creatures, skunk ape and all those Florida and all those different things. So I see that. What's the difference between like a Bigfoot or Sasquatch and a Dogman?
A Dogman is something that resembles a werewolf, but is not a werewolf. It's not a person who turns into a wolf. It's a upright canid. It's it's big. It's scary. It gives off a very malicious vibe. You know what I mean? Where the Sasquatches don't usually, put off a bad vibe. The Dogman does, but it's something that you really shouldn't go looking for if you don't know what the hell you're doing, and could be very dangerous. And we've been bluff charged by him. I've had him come to my house on more than one occasion. Yeah. So yeah, and but the Sasquatches come by all the time on my property, and and so I just had like a mental telepathy communications with a Sasquatch for the first time ever in all these years, and it was mind-boggling, But getting back to the paranormal stuff, before we go out and do anything, and I always like to invite somebody who's not on the team, someone who can validate our experiences and not just say it because they're on the team, or if nothing happens, just be honest. But everybody gets read through my psychic before we go. And if she says you can't go, then you're staying home, and there's no ands, ifs, and buts about it. And that's happened on many occasions, like everybody's okay, I'm in, let's go. And then the psychic reads them and says, okay, this one's got subconscious fear. So does this one, they can't go, they got to stay home, because something will definitely attach to them, and I always try to ask the psychic, because she reads everything through me. She says I'm a conduit. And I always try to say, well, can't they just come and be in the background, and they don't actually have to go into the location. And she always says no, because if there's something dark there, it's not attached to the location. It's attached to the land. And if
Mhm.
these guys are there, it will make a beeline for them so they can't go. And, you know, guys get pissed off when you tell them that you can't go. But, you know, I'd rather you be pissed off at me because I told you couldn't go than me having to deal with your family because you've been possessed by something dark, you know?
Yeah, yeah, something that takes over.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you know. But that's a good way of putting it. That's a good way of doing it. You know.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I
always
haven't
fun.
done it that way, and people want to go with me. But I also have people that showed up on investigations and seen something or something happened, and they disappeared. I don't see them no more. You know, they totally
Yeah, well.
disappear. It's like, what happened to them? You know?
Yeah, well, you don't know what they're experiencing, you know.
Mhm.
So if they experience something scary or dark, or you know, even if it's telepathic and they just hear it in their head or see it in their head, you know, they're probably gone forever. You'll never see them again.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you spook them out and everything. You know,
Yep.
so yeah.
So can I just want to back up for 1 second. When you said that the dog man is more negative than a
Yes.
Sasquatch and he's big. When you say big, like how big? Is he like a human size or is he larger?
They run from anywhere from 6 feet tall to I've heard up to 9 feet. I never seen anything quite that big, but we have the ones that I've experienced up here are definitely between 7 and 8 feet tall. They're just not as heavy as a Sasquatch because they're built like like a dog from the waist down. So they're very thin below the waist, but very thick above it. Whereas
Mhm.
Sasquatch is just like a tree trunk, you know,
Mhm.
from top to bottom. Yeah.
Well, what makes them different from like a werewolf?
First of all, they're not humans who turn into werewolves. They're a creature all to themselves. They have done DNA study on them, and the female DNA, the mitochondrial DNA is human, and the male DNA is unknown. That's number one. Number two, um, werewolves have ears on the side of their head, and dogmen have them on the top.
So it's almost like a
A German Shepherd,
pincher?
yes, or a Doberman Pinscher, stuff like that. Yeah. So I mean, but they just put off a negative vibe. I think they get off. I think they feed on scaring us. You know what I mean? They get off on
Mhm.
that. Where if you're walking through the woods and you see a Bigfoot and the Bigfoot spots you, 9 out of 10 times it's going to turn and walk away from you. It doesn't want anything to do with you. They know we're trouble, you know.
Mhm.
But a dogman doesn't care. The dogman will come towards you, you know, and try to scare the shit out of you.
Wow. Well, I mean, where are they located? I don't think I have any in Queens unless
I don't know if
I don't know if
you
it's
know you
you
do
know I
have
might have one as a neighbor. I don't know.
you do have them out on the island. You do have
Oh,
them
really?
out on yes. There's a little island off of the North Shore that butts up against a nature preserve and a camp. I don't remember what town it's in,
Yeah.
but there's a little island there, and people have been run off, like teenagers going to a party and stuff, have been
Yeah.
run off the island by these creatures. Apparently, the east end is Dogman, and the south and the west end of the island is Bigfoot. Because I got a report from a relative of mine who worked in the what do you call those guys? The Coast Guard. They were doing a patrol one night along the coast, the Long Island coast, and they heard something splash in the water. So when they stopped the boat and they put the spotlight on, and they were looking,
Mhm.
and there was actually a Sasquatch swimming across the sound going towards Connecticut.
Really?
And yeah, and of course that didn't make it into the captain's log, you know.
No.
But when he got home, my cousin got home. He called me and he says, "Dude, you're not going to believe what I seen tonight," you know. And I said, "Well, how did it swim?" And when he told me how it swam, not a lot of people know how they swim, you know. And when he told me how it swam, I said, "Okay, I know you're not bullshitting me," you know. So, but yeah. So I mean, but there is, you do have them out on the island. You have both the Dogmen and the Bigfoots out there, you know.
One of the investigations I went on, and I was in, it was Amityville. It was one of the towns over there, and one of the guys I was with took me to all these places out there, and he wanted to show me all the different locations he goes. So he took me to like this deserted cemeteries behind this factory, and there's woods there and stuff like that. And actually, it was a Civil War cemetery for African Americans.
Oh wow! Awesome. Yeah, that's crazy.
And so we went in there. As we go in there, like these rocks are being thrown at us.
Okay.
Like, it was just the three of us in there, and I was trying to videotape and everything, and my cameras, the batteries kept on, everything kept on dying. It was like being drained.
Yeah.
At the end of the night, we were walking down this one road, and my camera and my light died at the same time because I have the night vision light, night vision camera.
Yep.
And they both died same time, which that really usually happens. One dies and then the other one dies later on, or
right. Yes, absolutely.
Died at the same time. At the same time, I look up and it was by a tombstone, and I see something peek out. It looked like a little gray creature with hair.
Oh wow!
Like the size of a 5-year-old. Look out, and I just look, and I'm telling everybody, take pictures, because I had no camera or nothing. And as everybody got there, this thing ran away, running up the hill like a 5-year-old would, like with his elbows into the woods. So I don't know if that was something, because I never heard of a creature that small with hair, especially.
Yeah, I forgot what they're called. They have these little. Oh man, I forgot the name of them. They look like small Sasquatches, but they're only like between 3 and 5 feet tall. You know, and I don't think anything 5 is really pushing it. I think it's really close to like between 2 and 4. But you know, they're not usually white. They're usually brown or an auburn color, something like that. But I can't think of the name offhand what it is. Yeah. But they do exist.
Because it was dark out, and I just seen it running from. It was at the size of a tombstone.
Yeah.
It was hard to be on a tombstone, and it ran up the hill. You know,
could have been a juvenile Sasquatch too. Could have been a juvenile Sasquatch playing with you, because Sasquatch throw rocks at people all the time. When we go out to our locations. We go out to. I don't use I don't put fire. I don't light a fire. I put glow sticks down around us for ambient light. Of course, we all got headlamps if we need them, but you know, what they'll do is they'll come in and they'll strafe us with rocks. I mean, rocks will come in from all sides.
Wow.
But nothing will come inside the circle. Everything lands on the outside of the circle, you know, unless they really want to get us out of there. Then they'll throw something like the size of a bowling ball at you. And, you know, when something like that lands next to you, that means it's time for you to go, you know. But the little rocks, I think they're just messing with you and stuff like that. I've taken so many people out with me. I've taken ghost hunters out with me, and we've had so many experiences. By the time the night was over, they're like, well, we'll cross this off our bucket list, and we'll never go in the woods again, not even for a picnic, you know. they were done. But I mean, I've had all kinds of experiences with them, you know, and I'm very lucky. I got about 5 different locations up here that I'm working on, and they tolerate. I like to say they tolerate me, and I've never had anything really bad happen to me or anyone, you know, get hurt or anything like that, you know. So the clans that I'm dealing with, they know who I am, and they tolerate me.
Clans. I didn't realize they actually have groups.
Yeah, well, they're part human. Again, the DNA study that was done on these creatures as well as a dog man. And they were done 2 different times, years apart. Same exact thing. The mitochondrial, the female is human. The nuclear, the male is unknown. So they're part human. So, I mean, the Native Americans say they're supernatural. I tend to believe they have abilities. I call them a people. I don't like to call them a creature. I have a group of Native Americans, Iroquois Indians, that I associate with. And I sit down with them, and every now and then they'll throw me a bone here and there. They'll give me a couple little insider information, some secrets and stuff, you know. And which goes a long way, absolutely, because the Native Americans have been dealing with them since day one, you know.
Yeah. There's pictures. They have the drawings on rocks and
totems. You have them on the totem poles.
Totems, and they have all these. They also have other creatures like the Thunderbird and everything else like that, you know, on them. So that's interesting how they were seeing this before even was settled by Europeans. You know, they
They were
here thousands. You know, I don't know how many years, but they were here. You know, probably thousands of years also. You know, so they seen creatures like that, and then we come along and hey, look, there's a Bigfoot. You know, and it's interesting how they came by the name Bigfoot. It's by that when they first seen him.
Oh yeah, when that guy tracked him in Oregon when he at the construction site when he trapped him. He had the newspaper guy gave him labeled him Bigfoot, and from there it just stuck. Yeah. But I seen a Thunderbird a couple of years ago over the Palisades. Yes, was fishing one morning, early morning when the stripers were running up the Hudson. I was out there with my son and my son-in-law early in the morning, and we were out there, and everybody's just pulling. I mean, there was boats all around us. Everybody was just pulling stripers, and like they were going out of style. And I seen this giant shadow come across the river, and I looked up, and it was this humongous black bird that came. It guided over us. It was crazy. It guided over us, and then it turned around. And it went back over the Palisades. And I don't know if it was there for the stripers as well, but there was too many boats in the area or what. But it was funny because everybody's looking down, pulling in fish, and I'm the paranormal guy. I'm the only guy looking up, you know. And I'm telling my son, and I'm telling my son-in-law, get a picture. And like my son-in-law was too busy pulling the fish to even look up. My son was like, "Nah, I'm not getting involved with this nonsense," you know. He doesn't want to get involved with any of this stuff.
How big was it? Was it like a small plane or something?
Yes, it was like a small plane. Yep, it was big. Yeah, it was big. Wow. Yeah, and it was jet black, and it had feathers, and it just swooped its wings once, and it was a circle, like it went from the Palisades to the New York side and back across, and then over the cliffs, and it was gone. Yeah, it was amazing. It was like, you know, I say this all the time whenever I see any of these cryptid creatures. You know, not in a million years did I ever expect to see anything, and then I see it. You know, and I say it all the time, but it's so true. I mean, it really is honest to God truth. But you know, you don't expect to see anything. You know, even like when we go out on an investigation, we don't tell the psychic.
You're freezing up.
Say,
you're freezing up.
See that, and
you're freezing up, Al.
And
was I supposed to block me out?
I think so.
Right.
Okay.
Let's see if this
He's
works.
coming back. So that's interesting so far.
Yeah.
come in.
No. Let me push you back out, and then we'll see this. I'm sorry I'm eating. I didn't get to eat today. Here's what I want to know. you and I investigate spirits, right?
Hmm.
We've seen a lot of that. Why don't we see what he sees? And why does he see what we see or no?
So he does see what we see, when he goes on investigations, but he goes
Is it
and,
just that we're not in the places that we need to see that stuff?
well, I mean, we're not in the woods, where he goes. He probably goes more of deserted areas than what we do. We're putting most homes and stuff like that. Which I do like going into woods and everything when we get close to them. But he goes to locations that that have these creatures, And like I said, I seen something in a cemetery in Long Island. So, you know, I also seen something.
So they're not just in the woods; they're in cemeteries in large cities.
Yeah,
Hey,
there he is.
Wow, that was bad, huh? Holy
it got
cannoli.
bad.
Everybody was buffering at the same time. It was like I couldn't hear a word anybody was saying. But what I was saying was, so my psychic will tell us, you're going to see this, that, and the other thing. And I got to be honest with you, the shit she tells us we're going to see, we laugh at her because we think she's on drugs or something, right? but no, she's fifth generation psychic, Native American. And then we go out. And we just go out and we do what we got in our minds what we're going to do, like the investigation, the experiments, what we're going to do. We don't even think about the stuff she tells us. And at the end of the night, when it's all said and done, everything she said is going to happens. It's mind-boggling.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's
amazing.
All of us psychics are on drugs.
No, but I mean,
while you were gone, I was just saying to Anthony, like, do you see what we see when we go out on ghost investigations? I hate using the word the ghost, like spirit investigations. Yes. Do you see what we see? Because I've never seen what you have seen. But then again, I don't go out and hang out in the woods. I hate bugs. I hate snakes. I hate all that stuff. Do you see spirits too?
No, I don't. I don't really see them. I am clear all of those things, but to like I'm like all of the clairs, but to a small extent. Like I'll smell them. I'll get a metallic taste in my mouth. I'll stuff like that. I'll touch the wall and get a image in my head. You know what I mean? I'll do things like that, but like I can't do it. I can't, just do it at will. I gotta get like something's got to tell me touch this or touch that. You know what I mean? Or I'll walk into a room and I'll say, "Does anybody smell that? Cigar? Nobody will smell it but me." Or I'll get a metallic taste in my mouth, or my fingers are tingle, or something like that. I'll hear a voice in my head. A lot of times I hear voices in my head and say, "Don't go there, don't do this." And I don't know if it's, a psychic ability, my guardian angel, or my guides. I don't know who it is, but it's all of the above, I guess. I don't know, but I have a little bit of everything. But I've had the only time I ever seen an apparition was when I was 5 years old. And my grandmother died. And my grandmother was a white witch. And when she passed, I got her room, I got her bed, I slept in her pillowcases. And for the first week, she came in every night and she tucked me in. And all she spoke was Italian, and she would come to me and she would tell me, and it wasn't even in the clothes we buried her in, because the funeral parlor was right across the street. And everybody in the neighborhood was Italian. Everybody was like related from the same village in Italy, you know what I mean? And so everybody was Paisan. And my grandmother would come to me, and my father didn't believe in anything paranormal, even though he did see a ghost run through the engine block of his car. But my mother was psychic, and I would tell my mother, and I said, "Ma, Norna's coming to me. She's every night she comes, she gives me a kiss, she tucks me in." And my mother would say, "That's okay, don't worry, she loves you, she's just checking on you. It's probably only going to last a few days." Like she said 3 days, but it actually lasted like 5, But so that was the only time I ever seen an apparition with my own 2 eyes, you know what I mean? But I catch him on film with my cameras and stuff like that. I got a mirror in my house that's a portal. Shit comes in and out of all the time. you'll see orbs fly out of it, stop over my head, then go out the back window, and then an hour later it'll come back through the window, stop, like it's looking at me doing the interview, and then it'll go back into the portal. It's just crazy stuff.
Wow. So the mirrors could be, you ever cover the mirror, or you just let it stay open?
No, we just let it stay open. My father was a carpenter, and he found this mirror, and he just fell in love with it, and he built the frame around it, and that's the only reason I have it, because it was my father's favorite mirror, and he framed it out, and after he died, I kept it. But I don't know if you know who Katie Turner is. She's a psychic. She's worked on a lot of Travel Channel stuff. She was the one who told me how to find out if your mirror was a portal. And she said, if you stick your finger up against it and there's space, that's a portal. And, my cats are always looking up, chasing stuff around the house. You know what I mean? And so one day I decided to stick my finger against that mirror, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's a portal, But I don't know who the cats are playing with. I have a couple of friends of mine who are psychics. I was on the phone with them one time, and two different women, 2 different times, and they both said to me, your grandmother's witch. I could see her over your right shoulder. And the cat would be sitting on the coffee table looking over my right shoulder, And I would say, describe her for me, and they would describe her, and I said, it's not my grandmother, that's my mother, that's the dress we buried her in. Because my mother, when she passed, she was like 92, so everybody assumes it's my grandmother, but it's not, it's my mother.
2 things. So the mirror, I don't know if I truly believe in that, but if you hold a pendulum up to your mirror, if it doesn't do anything, it's just a negative. If you hold it up to the mirror and it swings clockwise, it is an open portal. So it's an entrance. If it swings counterclockwise, it's an exit portal.
Okay, well, I seen the orb go. I got video of the orb coming out and going in. So you know what I mean? I guess it's both. But I got a quartz crystal pendulum. As a matter of fact, recently I was out with John Zaffis and a bunch of people, and I went all old school. Like everybody had all their high tech stuff.
I seen that on Facebook, you guys.
Yeah, and you see the thing I did with the pendulum, with the dolls, and the dolls were going crazy. Oh my God! And I went all old school that night.
Bella,
and, Bella, and the other little doll, I forgot the other, Gertrude or something like that.
Yeah.
Gretchen, I think it was Gretchen. And but what you guys didn't notice, before Tim put the dolls on the table, I had a military grade compass, and I put it at both ends of the table to see what true north was. And then when Tim put the dolls on the table, and I put the compass in front of the dolls, the compass, the one that was at the south side of the table was faced. It said true north was west, and the other one said true north was east. The one that was Bella's on side. But before they were on the table, the compass read true north. You know what I mean? It was so. I don't think Richard. I think Rich was filming that night. Richard Mazzella. And I don't think Richard filmed the compass stuff. I know he filmed the pendulum. He may have filmed the dowsing rods too. I don't remember. But I got these dowsing rods that I use, and I painted the tips fluorescent orange. So when you film it with a UV light or something, they pop, they light up. So if they're spinning in the dark, you can see them spinning in the dark. You know what I mean? And it's just crazy stuff. Yeah.
No, that's a good. I didn't realize. Maybe that's good. Good tip.
No. I mean, I know what you call it does it too. William Helms from Casper.
Yeah,
but William uses a different kind of paint than mine. He uses a paint that you can charge with a like a UV light. You charge it, and then you could shut the UV light off, and you'll see it in the dark. Mine, the UV light, the paint that I use, the UV light from the camera has to be on them to see him. You know what I mean? They don't charge. Yeah, he uses a different kind of paint. But we've done a lot of investigations together, me and him, and me and Will, and actually I've been doing a lot with Richard lately as well.
Yeah, I have also. Richard, he's a great guy. I see you
Yeah,
in
Richard's
one
a
of his
great guy.
books. You're one of
Yeah,
his
yeah.
books.
Yeah, he called me one day. He said, "I got a lot of questions for you." He says, "Would you mind answering my questions? And if you wouldn't mind, could I put you in the book?" And I said, "Absolutely. I don't mind answering your questions. If I know the answer, I'll tell you. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you that too. You know."
I made one of his books too when we went to Shanley a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I thank him very much for putting me in the book. He didn't have to put me in the book, but he could have just took that information and ran with it. But no, he's a good guy. I mean, the stuff he was doing. Oh my God, the stuff he was doing when John was there, and the drawings he was doing, and
yeah.
Oh my God, just crazy stuff. The stuff he draws is amazing. Just absolutely amazing. I can't even draw a stick figure. And that guy is drawing stuff that he sees in his mind. It's mind-boggling.
Him and I just did the thing at the Ritz Theater recently.
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was with the drawing also. And I mean, like I said, he always includes everybody. He's a very good guy to work with, and just a good guy in general.
Yeah, no, he's a nice guy. I mean, every time I've met him, he's been solid to me. You know what I mean? Treated me well. Yeah, good guy. Yeah, I mean, if I didn't like him and he would have called me and bind me for information, I wouldn't give him any information. You know what I mean? Because people call you all the time and mine you for information, and you tell, and then it ends up in the book. They use your information, but when it came to Rich, I liked him the first time I met him, and so I said, absolutely, I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
Yeah, which is good. Yeah.
So you have so much information to give, and it's like a totally foreign world to me because I've never dealt with anything on the cryptid spectrum. I mean, I've read about all of this, but I've never seen anything. So to read about
Come out with me, you'll see some stuff.
I'll be there in a heartbeat. I will be there in a heartbeat. I love this stuff. So where are they in the country? Are they all over? Are they
over? They're all over.
So where have you seen the most?
Well, I live in Dutchess County, New York, so that's where I see them the most. But I have locations in Putnam County and even in Westchester County as well. But most of my locations are up here. As a matter of fact, I'm bringing a friend of mine, Chris Reinhardt. He's a Berkshire Mountain Bigfoot. He's got a channel, I think, Discover Sasquatch Investigation, something like that.
Familiar.
And Chris is coming down, and he's going to investigate one of my locations with me this summer, and then we're going to go up and investigate one of his locations, and we're going to actually bring in I don't know if you know who he is, Mark D'Antonio. He's the MUFON guy. He does all the photo analysis for MUFON, but he's got a military drone. He's got a high military clearance with the Navy. And he's got a military drone. And when I did the shoot with him for the Travel Channel, Discovery Channel, whatever it was, he used that drone, and the drone is amazing. You can see stuff like 100 feet underwater, and he wants to come up and fly that drone on one of the investigations and see if we could see anything, using the drone at night, because the equipment he has is like, mind-boggling. You know what I mean? Like, we can't afford that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
You're freezing up again, Al.
Am I? You want me to shut the camera off?
If you want to, they come right back.
Yeah.
We can hear you clearly, but you keep on freezing up and moving slow.
Yeah, no, I'd rather have the camera off and hear me fine than see me in some stupid position. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no,
I found myself in plenty of stupid positions through the years, so.
No, we don't want to hear about that.
That's a different type of show. That's one Tuesday show. Uncensored.
So, Al, because this is a drone that's military grade, who does clearance?
Maureen can't hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. With the military grade drone, do you have to get clearance for that when you take that out and you use it?
Yeah, well, he's got the clearance. He's got, he's worked for Navy intelligence. He's got all the clearance he needs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But you need a drone license to fly it anyway. You know what I mean? You just can't fly a drone without a drone license, So there are certain things you need to fly drones, especially if you're going to fly something, big, not something small, that like we get at the store, and you guys get this stuff from, the government. So Mark is supposed to come out with us one night as well. So he's going to come out, and he's a very scientific, he's a brilliant guy. And he wants to try to see if we could find anything, because he's got so many different cameras that see so many different spectrums of light, on the equipment, that he could just switch boom, 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 and see what's out there.
Yeah, that's it.
Whoever thought you need like a drone license?
No, you need a drone. But all these drones in the air, you know what I mean? And all these, pilots and all these private planes and everything else. There's a lot of air traffic above us nowadays, so.
Yeah, well, I live between Kennedy Airport and LaGuardia Airport.
So, God, yeah, absolutely.
So I think if they're gonna put a drone up there, they're gonna be shot down.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there are people who have drones up there, some legal and some illegal.
Yeah, I just see it over in the park over here. People they do have drones and they fly around the park, but I don't think they go that high where the planes are,
No, well, what they probably could go as they're coming down and going up. Yeah, I froze again. Okay, then I'm done with that. Okay.
You're frozen with one of those faces.
Yeah, that's it. I'm done with that then. No, but I mean, if the planes are taking off or landing, they are coming down pretty low. So yeah, that would be very dangerous. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because put it this way, if they're going to arrest you for shooting a laser up at a plane, could you imagine if you put a drone in the middle of a flight path? You know what I mean? So
yeah, that'd be interesting. To see what they would do around here. I don't know. They'll probably get the jet fighters in and start shooting it down.
Who knows what they have? I mean, the police have their drones as well. You know what I mean? They have that, and then they get the police helicopters, and I'm sure they'd probably send up a police helicopter before they send out a plane to shoot it out of the sky. But you never know.
Well, we got the police helicopters with the big lights looking for people on the streets over here sometimes.
Yeah.
They drive over with the big lights.
Spotlight, yeah, sure.
Yeah, the floods. So I see that you with the UFOs and stuff like that also. So you feel that the UFOs and the cryptics and spirits all intertwine, somewhere. I believe the same thing.
Yes.
Is there any special location where you think it's more than others, or?
Well, yeah, I think there are locations on this planet of high strangeness, and we have a couple of them, up here where we live. And we're one of the locations that we go to, that we do a lot of investigating. We've had, you name it, we've seen it there. From Bigfoot and Dogman to UFOs to fairies and gnomes, everything comes in. It's a place of high strangeness. I think there are certain locations where everything just kind of is a right fit. You'll have underground water aquifers. You'll have quartz crystal veins. You'll have ley lines. You'll have high magnetic energy. You have all of this, and it creates a location of high strangeness. And everything comes in there, you know what I mean? So, but I think they're all, my personal opinion, it's just one man's opinion, don't kill me on it, is that they're all connected through frequency, vibration, and consciousness. I think that's how they're all connected. I also like to throw intention in there, you know what I mean? Whenever we go out, we're doing a paranormal investigation. We're trying to make contact. It's our intent to make contact. If you're sitting in a field with 25 other people doing the CE5 and you're trying to create a consciousness, a connection with the UFOs and bring them down, it's your intention. When you go out into the woods looking for a Bigfoot or Dogman or whatever you're looking for, you're doing techniques to bring them into you. Again, it's your intent. So intent plays a big part of it, along with frequency, vibration, and consciousness. That's just one man's opinion.
When you go after Bigfoot, do you do the knocking on the trees also with the knocks?
Sure. Sometimes we have a bunch of different techniques we use.
The yelps that they do, the screams.
Yeah, the whoops. Whoops is what they do. We do whoops. We do the knocking. But according to my psychic, they know we're coming before we even get there. And so they're looking forward to coming down and seeing us, so sometimes they're not in the area and we have to do certain techniques to bring them in. But sometimes as soon as we get there, as soon as it gets dark, they come down off the ridge and they surround us. You hear them come in. It sounds like a herd of elephants. They surround you and they'll do all kinds of things, from whoops and tree knots to whistles to everything in between. Yeah.
That's interesting, and also the rock throwing and everything else. And
yeah.
So, because we met. I think I met you at the first time we met was in Pine Bush.
Yep, met you with Ron. No, you were Ron and Lourdes. Yep, I remember. Still got your card in my wallet. As a matter of fact, when I was at the gun range today. When I opened my wallet, your card came flying out. Yeah.
So
I'm starting the drinking game. I'm doing it.
You're doing what?
I'm starting the drinking game.
What's the drinking game?
When you say those names, time for a shot.
I didn't say the R word or the L word yet.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
No, you can say them. But I every show I seem to bring them into it, and because they're close to me, and I do pretty much when we go out on investigations, we go together and stuff. So.
We did meet at Pine Bush that year. Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. There was the speech there and everything. The speaking there.
Yeah, we spoke too at the end of the day. We were the last two. Brian and I were the last two guys to speak at the under the tent that day. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I mean that's the first time I ever went up there. I heard about it for a long time, and that's the first time we went up there. And we went to the museum. Lance he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, I'm supposed to do a Bigfoot there. A Dogman lecture in July. I'm supposed to do it I was just up there the other night with went to see Alexandra Holzer.
Oh yeah, she's there.
And I love her to death. And we kind of dragged me off into a corner and we got into our own conversation. But so I was up there talking to Lance because I was supposed to go up and do a lecture. And he wasn't sure what he wanted me to talk about, Bigfoot or UFOs. I said, I don't care. I'll talk whatever you want. And then it kind of came and went. He never got to me. And then I called him up because Little Bird told me he was looking for a Dogman guy. So I reached out to him. And he said, yeah. And I said, okay. So then when I was up there with Alexandra, I said, look, I sent you a bunch of dates. You never get back to me. Pick a date. Let's book it right here, right now. So it's a done deal. Because Brian and I, we were supposed to speak one night at the museum, right? Yeah. And a friend of ours who went there, lives in Pine Bush, went there to get tickets because we told him, we're speaking, and because Lance said pick a night. We picked a night. He picked a night. And then when she went there, she goes, oh no, Alan, Brian, and I, Ron and Lourdes, there it is again, have a little drink. We're actually speaking there that night instead of us. And we were like, dude, what happened? You said he goes, oh, I must have not put you down on the calendar. And then they came along and I put them down. I was like, that's why when I was there that night, I said, pick a date right here and now, because I know how this dude is. You know what I mean? If he doesn't have it down right then and there, you know, by the time July comes around, there'll be someone else doing the conference and not me.
Matter of fact, Ron just came on. I'm not sure it's Ron or Lourdes. It's Yak Cognac Paranormal. They go, where's Al?
Tell my stream doesn't work well.
By the way, Al, North Carolina Cryptid and Paranormal Project says to tell you that Tommy is here.
Oh, that's my Goomba, Tommy. He's from New Jersey, but he moved down to North Carolina. Yes.
Yeah.
You have your buddies in the house.
He's a good guy. Tommy's a good guy.
Is there more cryptics down there than up here?
I don't know if there's more, but there's just as many. Yeah, I mean, you know.
Yeah, I'm talking about because up here we was settled, a lot of areas that are settled, and there's a lot more houses and congestion and stuff like that. And parts of South Carolina still have a lot of woods and mountains and stuff.
Yeah, everybody, when they hear the word New York, they think of Manhattan. But the Catskill Mountain Range has 500,000 acres of woods. The Adirondacks has 2 million acres of woods.
That's true.
I think the United States, if all of our natural forestry area, if you put it all together, we have over 700 million acres of woods. There's lots of woods in the United States. It's a big country. People don't realize that. They hear New York and they think of Manhattan. I'm up in the Hudson Valley. As a matter of fact, where I am in Dutchess County, there's so much paranormal up here that the Dutch labeled it the Devil's Playground.
So how far are you from Sleepy Hollow?
Oh, I'm not that far from Sleepy Hollow. A couple of counties above it, but what you call we were at the Dutch cemetery one night doing EVPs, and I have an aunt who's from Germany. She's a real Nazi from the other side, you know. And I had her ask a bunch of questions in German, and then I went to the Dutch cemetery and had her ask the questions in German, and I got replies back in Dutch.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually had to go to her to find out what they were saying, because, you know, she understood it, because German and Dutch is so similar. It's almost one and the same, you know. So it was amazing. Yeah, no, it was amazing. As a matter of fact, the Mohegan Indians, I believe it was, when they migrated down from Canada and they would come down here for the winter, when they got to the Catskill Mountain Range, they would stop on the outside and they wouldn't go in the range. They wouldn't hunt in the range. They said that the mountains were haunted. And when the sun came up, they were all packed and ready to go, because they would get through the range all in one day, because they didn't want to camp in it, because they were so afraid. There was so much paranormal going on in the mountain range that they didn't want nothing to do with it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is.
It's funny how you say, though, that like everyone thinks that New York is just like Manhattan. When I say that I'm from Pennsylvania and I'm out of state or wherever, people tell me that it's just coal mining here. And I look at them and I'll say, do you not realize that this is where independence began? Like Independence Hall and, you know, all of those large buildings, it's not just coal mines.
Yeah, well, you know what it is. People don't, you know, they know that Pennsylvania is very rural, okay, and Pittsburgh and Philly are both big little cities, like Boston. You know what I mean? It's a big little city, so they don't consider it New York or L.A. or Chicago. You know what I mean? But have you ever gone to the Hoover House?
Not yet.
No.
You gotta go to the Hoover House. I was there. We did table tipping. We did table tipping. It was off the charts. Oh my
Really?
God. It was Korea. My wife and I went to Gettysburg 2 summers ago,
Mhm.
and we did all the tours and everything. And on the way back, we stopped off at the Hoover House for a night, and we had the whole house to ourselves. And
wow.
then everybody came over with the tables because we would do table tipping, you know.
Mhm.
And you ask the questions in your head, and the table answers you. There's no way anybody around that table knows what you're thinking, and it's mind-boggling. As a matter of fact, when one of the tables we were using was a table that just tipped, right?
Mhm.
And they have one that hugs you, and one that one that dances, and one that levitates. But we were using the one that tips. And at one point, my father came through. My father was a big time, loved to cut the rugs, you know what I mean? And he was very big on especially like tangoing and stuff like that. And the table wanted to dance. We had to move all the furniture, and you got 6 grown adults holding onto the table, dancing around the room. It was hysterical because they're telling me, no, this is not the dancing table. This one is not supposed to do that. I said, oh, that's my father coming through, and he wants to cut a rug. He's gonna cut a rug. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just the most amazing experience. Then we slept in the room that was haunted, and they said when you go to bed, someone gets into bed with you. My wife had gone up a couple hours earlier. She had a very trying experience with the tables. It took a lot out of her.
Mhm.
And she went up and she went to bed. And I got upstairs later, and I was all wound up from the table tipping, and I couldn't get to sleep. And I'm facing one way, she's facing the other. And I feel someone get in between us. But I think it's just her turning over. I look at her, she's snoring. Okay. I get back and I get comfortable again, and I feel somebody get in between us again. And I look over at her again, and she's still snoring. So then I said to the ghost, I go, hey, listen, if you don't stay fucking still, I'm gonna make you go sleep on the couch because I'm tired. I want to go to bed. And it didn't move the rest of the night. It was amazing. Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, that place is just an amazing place. And those people are Steve and Pam and everybody involved there. Just the nicest people in the world. Just the nicest people in the world.
Are you going to the Bash this year? Gettysburg Bash?
We're supposed to go. Brian and I are supposed to go. Yeah.
Oh, we're going to be there too.
I'm hoping I can make it because my daughter is pregnant and she's supposed to have a baby in July. So if the baby doesn't come at that point, I will definitely be there with Brian. Yeah.
Congratulations.
I'll be there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I didn't go the year my wife and I went to Gettysburg. I think we were there the week before the Bash, you know.
Mhm.
I didn't even know about the Bash at that time. Otherwise, I would have planned it to be there at that time. But we had an amazing time anyway there, you know, with the investigations and stuff. I got great pictures of soldiers on the battlefield. Just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, Gettysburg, like I've been saying, and people in the audience heard me say before, Gettysburg's like a candy store for the paranormal. You know,
absolutely.
You're always going to get something you don't expect. It's like, oh, you know, well, you see, all of a sudden something just pops out of nowhere. Yeah, I love it.
We were in the, oh man, what's the name of that house? With the one with the statue in front of the woman, with the woman. Jenny Wade house. And I would happen to be standing in a corner, and I felt somebody grab my bottom of my shirt and tug my shirt. And I thought there was like a little kid in the room. I turned around, looked around, and the woman giving the tour said, what are you looking at? I said, I felt like somebody tugged my shirt, you know? And she started laughing. She goes, this particular corner that you're standing in is where she was on her knees making bread when she got shot. So she may have been reaching up to grab you because she just got shot. And I was like, okay, that's interesting, you know?
Yeah. That's downstairs in the kitchen area.
Yeah, so it just happened to be. I just happened to be where she was on the floor. I didn't know she had shot it. That's where I ended up with the tour, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I felt someone tugging on my shirt, and I honestly to God, I thought it was a little kid. Yeah.
The bull went through two doors.
Yep, 2 doors. Yeah, it
The
was
front door,
crazy.
then she opened the door in between just in
Yep.
case, and the bull still went through.
And those doors were thick. They're like 3 inches
Yeah,
thick. Yeah.
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 They think one of the snipers from the Farnsworth
Yes.
did it.
Yes.
They didn't do it
Yeah.
on purpose because they didn't want to kill her
Right.
No.
because it was a stray bullet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It was a great place. Love
Doesn't
Gettysburg.
it seem
Absolutely.
strange though that like out of everybody in town, they all got out. She happened to stay there. She's making bread in that exact spot, and that's who gets like. It just seems so.
Yeah, she stayed because her sister was pregnant
Yes.
and she's about to
Sister was
give
broke.
birth, and
Yeah.
she was in the room right next to the
Kitchen. Well, it's off to the
kitchen.
right. Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
that building was one building, but it's two separate apartments.
Yeah.
The side they were on was one apartment, and then right next door was another apartment where they end up breaking through the walls, go to the other apartment, and go down to the basement where she ended up dying.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, she stayed there because her sister was pregnant. That's not even her house. That was her
No.
sister's house. She
Yeah, it was her
lived down
sister's
the
house.
block. She lived more near, I think, the Farnsworth. Up
Yes. Across
that
the
way.
street from the Farnsworth. Yeah.
Yeah,
Where they have that like 300-year-old oak tree or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. She lived
Yeah.
up that way more than there. So
Yeah.
they call it Jenny Wright House because she died there, but she
Yeah.
really didn't live there. She was just there. Her sister lived there, and her husband, her boyfriend, were off to
Anybody?
war. You know.
Don't you think? Like they would have gotten the sister out of there if anybody, with all the stuff that was going on there, and she's pregnant. Why wouldn't they get her out of there?
They felt that she was safe in that place. I don't know.
She was far enough away from the front. They really
Yeah.
didn't expect anything to happen there.
Mhm.
No one in their right mind thought there was a sniper down the street. You know, everybody thought the fighting was going on out in the field. You know, so they
Yeah.
thought they were safe. You know, they really thought they were far enough away from the action
Mhm.
that, you know, I mean, probably the only thing they probably thought could hit them was maybe a cannon or something like that. You know.
Yeah, well, in that spot there, they actually came into the town and they kept on firing, and the Federals kept on pushing back the Union soldiers to a point that they were using Jenny Wade house as as cover. They were all hiding behind there, and at nighttime, there was people out in the field that were dying or sick or dying, and Jenny Wade used to go out there and give them water or help them out at nighttime. So
Yeah.
they really didn't want to kill her because that's what she's making the bread for, not for the family, for the soldiers outside that are dying. That's what she was making the soldiers the bread for. So
Yeah, I just think when it's your time to go, it's your time to go, and there's
Mhm.
nothing you can do to stop it. You know, I've had too many friends growing up on the streets that have been stabbed, shot, run over,
yeah,
and they survive all of it, and then somebody falls down and hits their head on a rugged carpet on a step and dies. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? It's yeah.
yeah. So the UFOs that
Yeah.
I mean, I know you see them where you go out by your house or you go further out in the by Pine Bush, or I know Pine Bush is supposed to be like
The
one of the
capital,
biggest
New York State
capital,
capital of,
yeah,
yeah.
of the UFO.
I see them all over the place. To be honest with you, you know,
Mhm.
I seen them when I was a kid down in 8 years old, 10 years old. I don't know what I was, 10 years old
Mhm.
down in Yonkers. And growing up in Yonkers, just over the city line there from the Bronx. I
Mhm.
seen them. I mean, I've seen them, commuting from up here, 32 years working down in Westchester. I go to work, it's dark. I come home, it's dark, and I see them in the skies all the time. I've seen every kind of craft you can possibly think of. At one point, I seen so many crafts. I think it was 2012. I seen so many crafts. But I called my brother. My brother's a parapsychologist, okay? And and he's a MUFON guy. And I called my brother and I said, Frank, I think I'm losing my mind. Everywhere I go, everywhere I look, I'm seeing UFOs, bada beep, bada boop. And he hooked me up with a group down in Yonkers called the Round Table that were all like-minded people. We got to talk and this, that, and the other thing. But I've seen, you name it, I've seen a UFO that looked like the Roman Colosseum over the Parkway in Connecticut. It was so big with so many different floors. I mean, it looked like it had 20 stories, and it was on both sides of the Parkway. And it looked like the Roman Colosseum, but the bottom was lit up white. And one time I'm living in Bridgeport, Connecticut, right by the Trumbull Mall. And I'm racing up the parkway. She's got a brand new Mustang, an 84 Mustang. I'm racing up the parkway, listening to a Yankee game. And the car starts puttering and everything. So I get off the parkway. I'm on top of a hill. I look down. There's a parking lot. Cars on both sides just stopped dead. To me, it looked like a motorcycle accident. There's a state trooper there. So I go down to the trooper and I say, listen, car's dead. He goes, yeah, you know what? All these cars are dead. And I was like, what happened? Is there a motorcycle accident? He's like, no. He goes, look up. And I looked up. And it never occurred to me to look up because I was on top of the hill. I looked down. I was always looking down. And there was this craft the size of the Roman Colosseum just parked there. Like it just pulled up and threw it in park. Boom. And I'm looking at it. Everybody's looking at it. But no one is running around like a chicken without a head. And there's no wind. There's no noise. There's no nothing. All the cars are dead. And I walked over to the state trooper and I was like, well, what do you think it is? And he goes, what are you being a wise ass? He goes, what do you think it is? It says it looks like a UFO to me. He goes, it's exactly what it is. And then we're sitting there, seemed like for like 10, 15 minutes, everybody's just looking up. And the thing bounced up like 1,000 feet, like in a blink of an eye, just bounced up 1,000 feet. And when it did that, all the cars started back up. And the officer's radio started working. And he called it in. He said, scramble to fighters, Air National Guard from the Bridgeport Airport. We got a UFO over the parkway between these two exits, you know? So they said, okay. And they scrambled two UFOs. And the lead plane said, I don't see anything on my radar and I don't see anything in the sky. And the cop was like, believe me, it's here, you know. I think he said it looked like it's the size of a giant stadium or something, right? And so then the lead pilot said, okay, we'll be there in like 10 seconds. As soon as it said that, this thing shot up to the sky like in 1,000th of a second. It was as high as a star, just gone, boom. And when these two whatever they were, F-15s or whatever, for 14s, come barreling down the parkway side by side, it felt like the end of the world. The ground was shaking, the trees were bending, leaves were flying all over the place. It was like the most scariest feeling to feel that power roar over you. Yeah. And then turn around and head back up to the Parkway North, up to Connecticut. Yeah, it was absolutely insane to see something that big in the sky just parked there, not making a sound. It was mind-boggling.
That's interesting. It really is, because I didn't hear nothing on the news about that.
Well, it's funny. The funny thing about it, I was living in my brother's attic apartment, and my brother was upstairs painting my apartment that day, and he was listening to a radio show out of Bridgeport, and the DJ said, hey, look, we just got a report of a UFO over Bridgeport. He ran up on the roof with the remote control, the radio remote control, and he was seeing it, and he was talking about it on air. It's going this way up Bridgeport. It's going up Main Street. So my brother, it was heading north up Main Street towards Trumbull. So my brother jumped in his car and got his camera with the bazooka lens and drove up to this Catholic school that was up on a hill. And he figured when he got up here, he'd get a couple of good shots of it with his camera. But before he got to that school, it made a left and went south down the parkway, and that's where I ran into it. When my brother wrote his book, Frank Santariga, Paranormal Family and Friends, he reached out to the radio station, and it's like, oh no, we don't know what you're talking about. So he found the DJ who was retired, living in Arizona, some, and he found the DJ, and he said, you still gotta have that tape from when you seen that UFO, you know. And the DJ said, listen, do yourself a favor, don't get involved. He goes, those tapes are all gone. I didn't see anything. Mind your own business. Do yourself a favor, leave it alone. So my brother's like, okay, then forget about it then.
Yeah, forget about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of cover-ups and all that stuff. You know, when I was a kid, and in Glendale, my old town, I was maybe, it was 1978 or 79, something like that, and I was coming out of the pizza place on the block, and you know, and as I was coming out in the summertime, everybody back then used to sit on the stoop in front of the house, on the stoop in front of the house, or they used to have their little beach chairs, and because it was so hot, nobody who had air conditioners back then.
Yeah.
Big ass fans that like they sucked in birds. It was like they were so freaking big.
Yeah, the box fans were huge. Yeah, you put them in the windows. And they weighed a ton.
They made out of steel and everything. You put your hand there, you cut your fingers off.
Yeah, they weighed a ton. Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's what we had. And so everybody used to sit out late outside because it was cooler outside than inside the house. So I was coming out of the pizza place down the block, and everybody was out. And where the pizza place is, there was like an avenue called Myrtle Avenue, and then my block oversee that block was going up from Myrtle into Cooper Avenue. And Cooper Avenue, on the end of Cooper Avenue, there's a big cemetery up there. So I'm coming out of the pizza place, and I'm looking, and all of a sudden it looks like it was a big light going down my block. I didn't hear no helicopter. It was like a big light going slowly up the block. And I'm like, what is that? I didn't hear no sound. I don't hear nothing. All I see is like this light, like it was scanning up the block. And it went from the bottom of the block all the way to the corner and then disappeared into where the cemetery area was. So I was like curious, and I go up the block, and I'm like, anybody, and I because a bunch of kids, we used to sit on one of the stoops over there, and there was a bunch of us there. I go over there and said, you guys see that? And they're like, no, we didn't see nothing. What are you talking about? So I walked up some further, and I went to my house, where my house was. My grandparents were outside, my mother and the family was outside. So my brother comes out. Yeah, he came out as the thing passed by. So I'm like, Gerard, you see that? He goes, yeah, what was that? I said, I don't know. Nobody else seen it. It was like, I was like, am I going crazy? Nobody's seen it. Even the next day I was asking around, anybody seen that? And nobody's seen it. I don't know if it was some sort of light going up the block that maybe made them not remember it or whatever. But my brother was in the house, so he didn't really get affected by it until he came out and he seen it already leaving the end of the block going into the cemetery. And
sometimes those that happens to me all the time. It seems like I'm the only guy who sees this stuff in the sky. I mean, these things are humongous, and no one sees them but me, and I don't understand that. But I come to the conclusion that sometimes they're just meant for you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And if that ever happens to you nowadays, now that you're older, you do a time check just to make sure you don't lose any time. I always, whenever I see one, I do a time check because I know how long it's supposed to be before I get home or I get to work. And if I'm not on either way at the right time, I know something's happened.
That's another thing with the time. That's interesting because I did an investigation with April, the New Jersey Paranormal.
Yeah, no, April, yeah.
The psychic, New York, New Jersey psychic, intuitive. I can't even talk, but April, and And we did a little investigation at somebody's house out, I think in Mastic, Long
Okay.
Island. So
Yep.
that's quite a ways from us. So we did a little investigation, and we found out that the kid was playing games with the family and throwing stuff around. So everybody thought it was paranormal. Wasn't. It was a kid playing games. So we're on our way back. She was going to her because she lives in Jersey, and I'm driving on the Long Island Expressway, and I'm on exit 63. Rain started pouring. It started pouring rain. All of a sudden, the sky just lit up like one big lightning going across the sky. Next thing I know, I'm on exit 40. I'm like, how did I get from exit 63 to exit 40 this fast? Then my GPS said that I was going to be back. I was supposed to get home like at 10 o'clock. Now it says I'm getting home at 10:30.
Wow.
So
So you gained location, but you lost time.
yeah, I'm like,
Wow.
how did that happen? And I was so curious about that. Matter of fact, I brought it up when I was in Pine Bush with some of the guys out there. But I just lost that time from one location to the next location. But I the time was pushed back to like a half hour. But how did I get there so fast? Because
Did you stop at Wawa?
Huh?
Did you stop at Wawa?
No, I wish I would have stopped at Wawa. At least I would have had a coffee in my hand. Waking up at exit 40, like, oh, at least I have a coffee. I don't know, but that was interesting. How just that never happened to me before.
Yeah, we did an investigation
That's
one
crazy, 'cause
time where
I was driving.
yeah, no, we did an investigation one time where we had a time space continuum happen to us, and we lost time, and we seen a UFO that night. There was a lot of stuff that happened that night, but I was supposed to do regressive hypnosis with what's her name? I can't think of her name now. She's a very, very famous paranormal investigator. Oh God, help me out. She just passed away recently. I can't think of her name, but we were good friends, and I was supposed to go to her house, and she was going to do regressive hypnosis on me, and but she passed away, and I never got it done. We were going to find out what happened that night, but yeah, no, shit happens, man. Shit happens. Like you gained 20 exits, but yet you lost a half hour of time.
Yeah.
How does that work? How do you gain 20 exits but lose a half hour of time?
I had something like that happen to me too. I was in flight. I was flying back from Mexico, and I'm just like, I'm OCD. I can't help it. I have to like get all of my stuff ready. I put it in the back of the seat in front of me. I have my reading glasses, my earbuds, whatever. And the captain said, settle in and get ready for, whatever it is. It's like 2 hours and 45 minutes or whatever. And I see everybody sit back and they close their eyes. They put their eye masks on, their earbuds in, their sunglasses on. And as I go to get my book ready, the captain comes back on and he said, we'll be descending in, 30 minutes. And I was like, what the hell? I just opened my book. They're all like opening their eyes, taking their masks off and getting ready to like descend. It was the craziest thing because I literally just put my stuff in the seat in front of me to get ready to like
read. Yeah. No, I mean that's insane.
And it was like a couple of times that this happened within the week.
Oh wow! So you having a lot of like time loop kind of stuff happen to you. That's crazy. Yeah, you should definitely get what you would call it, regress to see what's going
Doctor?
on.
Are you saying I need a doctor?
No, not a doctor. It's just a regression.
Kathleen Martin.
Wow, Kathleen Martin. Yeah, she's Betty Hill, Barney and Betty Hill's niece. I
Okay.
think.
Benny Hill?
Yeah.
Benny Hill?
Benny Hill.
No, Betty, not Benny, Betty.
Benny? I think
Yeah,
yeah,
Barney
Benny.
and Betty Hill, yeah.
I
Oh, cool.
said Sylvia Brown. Is that who you're thinking?
No, you know what? She was a dear friend of mine, and I regret not knowing her, forgetting her name. Sometimes you just go blank when you're doing interviews
Yes.
because you're not
It happens to
expecting
me
to
all the
talk about.
time.
You're not expecting to go down this road, and then you go down this road, and you can't think of the person. The minute I hang up, it'll come to me for sure. But she's a
Always.
very famous paranormal researcher. She's done it forever, and she's well known. She's got 1 million books, and we was just close, dearest friends. And she was the only person I would have trusted with a regression anyway.
Mhm.
So,
No, don't worry about it. I'm very bad with names. Ex-Marine.
Terrible. Terrible.
I can't remember shit.
No, I'm bad. I'm pretty good with faces, not too good with names. But
Yeah.
I mean, when it's someone who's a dear friend of yours, and you shouldn't forget her name, and I feel horrible that I can't think of her name at this point in time. But yeah, no, so you should definitely get regressed, because if that happened to you more than once, something is going on. Absolutely, yeah.
I actually call it the Walmart time warp. Because I can go into Walmart and have one thing in my cart, and all of a sudden I've been there 6 hours. Like,
Oh my God.
seriously, like people will call me and they'll be like, "Are you dead?" Because it's been 6 hours, and I'm like, "Oh my God, has it really been 6 hours?" I lose time like crazy. And I did meditation one day, and I was on a steel table with beings around me, and it was literally like talking to you guys.
Okay.
So I definitely know something happened. I don't know what is accurate and what's not. And I feel like I was actually there. So I think there's something definitely up there. And I did write a blog about this because, like, when I got back, another thing happened where I went to put my meds back that I didn't use, and the bottle was actually sealed, and I had a ton of meds left that came out of that bottle, and it had like the clear plastic thing around the top of it. So I had to like crack that open the top. The seal was still on top of it. The cotton was still inside of it. And when I counted, that amount was missing.
Wow, that's crazy. That is absolutely fair. We lost
somebody's
the
playing a freaking game with me.
We lost the baby Jesus one Christmas, and we've never found him. So I mean, crazy stuff happens. It just
He is coming back,
I mean, it's just, we weren't sure if the dog ate him or, but the dog never bothered the manger set or anything like that. But it was just, we've changed furniture so many times now, rearranged the house. You would have thought at some point we would have found that baby Jesus, but nope, just was gone. And you know what else happened to me? I lost 2 diamond pinky rings. Just gone. One day I went to look for them. We went up to Lake George. I see these 2 beautiful pinky rings that I had to have. Probably overpaid for both of them. Got home from Lake George, put them in my jewelry box. One day we were going out to a family function, I don't know, and I went to put the rings on, and the rings were gone. All my other jewelry was there, but both of the pinky rings were gone. I've had 2 remote viewers and 2 psychics look for them, and everybody tells me they're here, they're there, but they're never anywhere where they say they are. So
wait, you lost them before you got back home?
No, I put them in my jewelry box after I got back home. And a month later, we were going out to a wedding or something, and I went to put them on, and they were just gone, disappeared off the face of the earth.
So did any of them tell you that they were behind your toilet in the bathroom?
Some said they were behind this cabinet here, 3rd drawer down. I mean, the remote viewers were pretty spot on of the way the room looked and the furniture and everything. But when I looked there wasn't there. I had 2 psychics tell me one was in a pants pocket that was put away from my winter clothes. And when I opened that up to go through my, go through my summer clothes to see if it was there, it wasn't there. I had another psychic tell me it was going to be at a different location. And when I went to that location and looked for it, it wasn't there. It's just they're not there. It's just they must have went into that mirror and someone took them to the other side.
I saw them behind the toilet on the floor.
No, there's nothing behind the toilet on the floor.
But I mean, they're not going to be there now because time's passed.
Yeah, no.
They're on the toilet on the floor inside the mirror.
Maybe.
Maybe of your house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a different dimension. Your parallel dimension. I gotta go through the mirror to get them.
Yeah, go through the mirror.
You know that movie that's like there's another house and it's built like backwards?
Yes.
That's kind of like what you're saying. And like it's on the like there's two houses built back to back and it's opposite.
Parallel dimension, yeah, it could be. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, but I'm saying the only way I'm going to get there is if I go through the mirror. You know what I mean? So, but
you ever try fitting through the mirror?
No, I mean I can fit through a mirror. It's a big mirror, but I mean I never tried going through. But I swear to God, two, for lack of a better definition, mafia pinky rings. Okay, diamond rings, both of them. Absolutely drop dead gorgeous. I got so many compliments at Lake George when I wore them. I was so happy to have them. I couldn't wait to get home and put them in a safe place in my jewelry box. And boom, just gone, just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Were they new or were they previously owned? Somebody owned them before you?
No, they were both brand new. Brand new. Yeah, I bought them when we were away on vacation. Yeah.
Yeah, because somebody owned it before you, they might have wanted them
come back. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, no, I get it now. Yeah, but I mean, it's just like I said, between the two diamond rings and the baby Jesus, it's just gone. It's just gone. There, stuff in this house.
The ring and the baby Jesus.
Yes, the two pinky rings and the baby Jesus are both gone. And you know what? The funny thing about it, when my daughter was small and my wife would put out the manger set with the baby Jesus, my daughter would always wrap him in a tissue. And I would say to her, what are you wrapping him in a tissue for? She said, because he's not born yet, Dad. We got to put him in a tissue, wrap him up like a blanket.
Like a cocoon.
And the tissue was gone too. Even the tissue disappeared.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just mind-boggling. And my daughter did it every year. Every year was like a tradition for her to wrap the baby Jesus. She looked forward to wrapping it, And 1 year it just never came back. We came downstairs Christmas morning and baby Jesus was gone.
So what are you putting in now? A little piece of toilet paper?
No. Now we got a baby Jesus, but he's really big. He's a big baby. He's like a baby Huey Jesus.
He's like baby Jesus in the manger from what's it called? The movie with Jake and Babe.
No, I don't know. I remember that one.
Me neither.
With Will Ferrell.
No, I don't remember it. But like I said, now the baby Jesus we have is like a baby Huey, so we can't lose him.
Yeah. So it's like things disappearing and time loss and stuff like that. I know with things disappearing as a paranormal investigator, we think as a spirit taking them. And, as somebody that's with the grays and stuff like that, who knows? Maybe they come in the middle of the night and grab them also.
I was told by one of the psychics, who's a world-renowned psychic, told me that we have shadow figures. We have shadow men that come to visit my wife. They get night terrors. And we have three different guys. We got the typical shadow guy, just a shadow. Then we got the guy who looks like the Marlboro Man. And then we got the guy who looks like Frank Sinatra with the little pompadour hat, right? Mm-hmm. And
he's the one who took your pinky rings.
I chase them out. I feel immediately as soon as it's the craziest thing. I'll be sleeping in bed with my eyes closed. The room is pitch black because my wife needs to have pitch black, not even a dot of light. And I can see a darker shadow go across the room with my eyes closed. Okay. The minute I see that dark shadow go across the room gets cold. I get cold chills. As soon as that happens, I touch my wife because she's always running hot and she's usually ice cold. And I know it's just a matter of time before she starts having night terrors. And then I usually wake up and I chase the shadow guy out. Now, I've done this for years. I've staged the house. I've cleansed the house with everything you could possibly think of. I've used. I got crystals and stones and all kinds of salt and holy oil and everything under the sun to keep these things out. And what I was told from one of the psychics was one of the shadow men took your rings because he's pissed off at you that you drove him away. Because soon as they see me wake up, I can see them make a run for it, and they run right for the wall. With the wall on our side has that mirror on the other side of it in the other room, and I think they're running through the wall to get into that mirror to get away. Because as soon as I wake up, there's no hesitation. They turn and they go because they know I'm not playing any games in the middle of the night. I'm not dealing with this bullshit, you know.
Yeah. And why did they take that from you? Because they're scared of you.
They took it to spite me. That's what I was told.
They're afraid of you. They wouldn't take it.
Well, I mean, this is what I was told by a world-renowned psychic. She told me that one day they will return it, but right now they're mad at you for driving them away and then doing all the stuff that I do with the sage and the frankincense and the myrrh and the oils and the stones and the salt. And not only do I do that bedroom to try to keep it a safe zone, but I do the whole house, and then I do the yard, and I just keep pushing them further and further away. You know what I mean? So she says they're really pissed off at me because I drive them away, you know, and they're attracted to my wife. I don't know what she did in her youth, but I know she used to play with a Ouija board as a kid. So
no,
yeah.
I don't feel any of that. I don't feel that there's something nefarious. I feel like they're afraid of you, so that's why they're running. And I don't feel like they took your rings because they're afraid of you. And I feel like the rings were just something odd. It could have been elementals, like fairies, because they like to play games, and they would put them back.
Well, you know what? They never told me that it was. I mean, look, I've done investigations where we've driven elementals out of property as well, out of people's homes, because, you know, there was a couple of places we've cleansed that they cut the woods down to build these giant condominium complexes, you know?
Yeah.
And the elementals are not happy about it, and some people get it. You know, most of the people in the complex whose apartments face the woods usually have issues. And over the years, we've driven a bunch of them our way from different complexes over the years. Now, maybe one of them is pissed off at me and followed me home. I don't know. I mean, that would be just a wild guess on my part.
Yeah, that's.
It could be, and I mean, you could use Palo Santo if you haven't tried that.
I have Palo Santo. I have everything.
Did you use it though?
No, I didn't use it. I have Palo Santo. I have sweetgrass. I have all kinds of crap. I have Florida water. I have all kinds of stuff.
I would try this Palo Santo. It'll get rid of anything negative.
Okay.
But the elementals, they get a little mischievous, and they will take stuff. They'll kick you in the ass. They'll push you down the stairs. I mean, like, just to be annoying.
Yeah, my psychic, that one of the complexes we did, she told me that an elemental pushed a woman down the steps, and the woman broke her neck and died. She was at the bottom of the steps by her mailbox, and that same elemental was actually attacking the woman in the apartment. The woman was getting beat, bloody, just beat the shit out of her. And I was just stopping by to do a walkthrough. It wasn't even supposed to be an investigation, and all hell broke loose. I was there, and it just turned into like in the most incredible investigation that, you know, one of the most incredible things I ever did, because I felt like something was dodging me. You know, when you go in one room and you feel like it just ran out, you know, and I'm going all through the house and I feel like this is going crazy. And I felt like something was dodging me, and my psychic was talking to the woman on the phone. And then all of a sudden, the dog started going crazy, he's running around us in circles. And we were like in this vortex of energy. And my psychic is talking to the woman. The woman collapsed because of the energy. The dog was going. I had to pick her up, carry her, put her in her bedroom, left her on the phone with my psychic as I was chasing this elemental through the house. And I was actually standing in the hallway facing her bedroom with a camera in my hand, getting ready to take a photograph of her bedroom, when an orb came out of the bathroom wall, stopped, looked at me like, oh shit, he's right here, and took off. And I never pressed the button on the camera to take the picture. Instead, I'm thinking, this is so close, I could touch it. I reached out to touch it, and it took off. And I chased it down the hall. It made a right in the kitchen. I made a right in the kitchen after it, and it made a left out the back door into the patio. And I chased it right out into the patio, and then it went off into the woods. And that was like the most incredible thing. I can't believe that I seen an orb, a white orb the size of a baseball, come out of the wall, and I literally chased it. And I was like an inch away from touching it. I was trying to touch it to see what kind of energy was in there, you know, but I could never get close enough to touch it, and I never took the picture. Yeah, that was a wild investigation, man.
Do you feel that the energy, I know it's sensitive stuff, but you had your grandmother was a white witch?
Yes, and my aunt, my grandmother, my aunt. Yeah,
and
I think you are too, Al.
I am too.
I think
I'm not practicing.
You don't have to practice. That's the thing.
Oh, really?
No.
No, they were practicing.
And you had family that also was into the paranormal before, so you know you have family that was already doing this stuff, weren't you?
No, my brother was going out with Han Holzer's right-hand man for years, and they were using his psychic Ethel or whatever her name was, and he was actually the one who told me to get a psychic on the team, you know. So yeah, my brother, growing up with my brother, there was always books in the house, and as soon as he finished reading them, I would read them, of course, you know what I mean. And just there was always stuff to learn, and always a lot of stuff. Like our families would get together, and they would do like seances and stuff with candles. I remember as a kid being at my cousin Anthony's house, and my uncle Dennis and everybody, my aunts, my grandmother, they would be there doing like conjuring or whatever they were doing, you know. And we weren't allowed to be there because we were too young. But we would sneak out anyway out of the bedroom just to get a peek and see what was going on, you know. And you see the candles dancing and everything on the table in the dining room. It's just mind-boggling stuff, you know. So, but I thought this shit was normal, you know. Growing up, that was normal to me and my family. So when I started telling my friends about it in the neighborhood, they were like, "Al, that's not normal," you know what I mean? I said, "Well, it is in my family."
Yeah.
But I think the longer you're in this field and the more stuff you investigate, the more sensitive you get to different energies. You know what I mean? And you just start, you know when you get a tingle in your mouth, a metallic taste, what kind of energy you're getting ready to deal with. You know, like when I was with Richard and what's his name? Oh man, I can't think of it. Bob.
Barefoot, Bob and Sandra?
Yes, Bob and Sandra. and we were with them. I was downstairs in the basement. I went down in the basement by myself because I like to do my stuff by myself. And I felt like I was walking on a boat that was rocking in the water. And I had never felt that way before, like my equilibrium. And then what's her name? Jesus God, I'm killing people tonight. One of the psychics came down.
Kim?
And was it Kim? It may have been Kim. She came down and she was walking the same
I
way
wasn't there. I know who was there.
And she was walking the way I was walking. And I go, what are you doing? She goes, I feel like I'm my equilibrium is off. And that particular night was the night where I touched the wall. It was a stone wall. I'm big into the tape theory, the what do they call that? The time tape theory or something like that, where you touch the stones and everything's got like a memory. You know what I mean? You know what it's called?
Yeah.
But anyway, I touched the stones on the wall because the foundation was made out of stone. The house is built in the 1700s. And when I touched the stone, I heard a voice in my head say, touch the door, because the door looked like it was like 6 inches thick. Looked like it was there forever. And when I touched them both at the same time, I got the images of like slaves, And so when we went upstairs and we're hanging around the table with John and everybody, one of the girls was like a historian. And I said, did this house ever have, was this part of like the slave, what do you call it, Underground Railroad, And one of the other sidekicks said, well, why did you say that? And I told her what I did downstairs. And she said, I did the same thing. I got the same image. But the girl who was a historian said, not to our knowledge, this house wasn't used for it, but there are other houses in the community that were. So I don't know if they used that house as well, and it just wasn't documented or not. But like I said, I don't know what tells me to touch a wall. You know what I mean? I just do it, and I'm touching this stone tape theory, and then something says touch the door too, because they look like they were both there from day one. You know. Yeah. And that's when I got that image, that mental image in my mind's eye, So, but it's not like I can do this shit at will. It's just wherever I'm at, stuff happens, like I get these things to touch this, do this, look at that, but it is what it is, So I think the longer you do this kind of stuff, the more sensitive you get to energies. And I think you will get, whether you're a psychic or not, you will get sensitive over time to different energies,
Yeah. I mean, I feel that everybody has the abilities, but there's a lot of people like they shut themselves down because of many reasons. They just don't want to deal with it, or they might be afraid of it, because you see an image, and sometimes the image you see is not what you want to see. And just freaks you out a little bit, so you shut yourself down on many things, But I feel everybody has the ability to see, and if you're in the right location, you will see something, You will
I agree 100% with you. I think everybody has the ability to do this stuff. I think we're all born with it. That's why children are so wide open when they're young, And I think if all of us were nurtured at a young age to learn our abilities, we would all be vibrating at a higher frequency now, So, but some of us, we just stumble across it, and some of us are born with it. I have a cousin who is super, super psychic, and she's afraid of her own shadow. You know what I mean? She's just like, she doesn't want to know nothing, and she's got stuff around her 24/7, and she just doesn't want to know anything. She thinks she can run away from it. I told her, you can't run away from it, because it's not your house, it's you. It's followed you your whole life. Haven't you figured it out yet? You know what I mean? But she's so afraid. She's so afraid. I think if she took the time to learn about it and had someone train her, she would be able to block a lot of this stuff, put up walls. But it's a lost cause, so I don't even bother.
Yeah. So let's get to that point. Do you have anything coming up that you want to share with the audience?
Just the thing at Pine Bush on July 22nd. I'm doing the Dogman seminar. We are going out. We got a couple of things going on this summer, like the Bigfoot expeditions here in New York and in Connecticut as well. And like I said, just I know there's going to be stuff that just pops up here and there that we're going to just stumble across and go do. So like I said, I was at the range today and I met two women who told me about a bunch of streets where they live, that there's all kinds of paranormal stuff happening on. So I'm definitely going to take the time this summer to go and investigate those locations as well. But other than that, nothing really to write home about.
Do you have a YouTube channel or something that people could get in touch with you with, or?
Yeah, I mean, you could. We have the Bronxville Paranormal Society does have a YouTube channel, but you could reach out to me on Facebook. That's my partner Brian's got us on every single social media platform under the sun. I just hang out at Facebook. I don't have the patience to jump around like he does, but you could message me personally, or the Bronxville Paranormal Society page or group, or any of the other groups that I had mentioned earlier tonight. We're all on Facebook, and everything comes to me and him. So if you reach out to us, we'll get your message, and we'll get back to you. So if you want, I'm easy to get in touch with, and I have no problems discussing anything, whether we agree or disagree. We could still discuss it.
Yeah. Do you have email or something that they can touch you with, or just go on Facebook message for you?
No, Facebook message is the easiest way to go. I get so many emails that I delete 99% of without looking at them. You know what I mean? I get so many that I don't even look at them, to be honest with you. Really, that's the truth. I'm being brutally honest. But Facebook Messenger is the easiest way to get a hold of me. If you got a question or you got a comment, you want to talk to me about anything, I'm all ears.
Yeah, if you have something that you want to have some guest along, Maureen and I might be interested.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll definitely reach out to you guys if you're just to understand one thing, Maureen. If you come out with us watching, you're going to probably be hiking 4 miles each way into the woods.
Jesus, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's not like going to a haunted house and sitting in a dark room and playing with an obelisk or a spirit box. No, this is actually, we do a lot. It's, if you want to make contact with these cryptids, you have to go to where they are. And, so that's usually what we have to do. So
no Jeeps or anything, or
believe me, it's the roads. So the roads start off as like mining roads, or what do you call that when they cut the trees down? Logging roads, and then they turn into goat trails. I mean, very sketchy, very dangerous, especially at night when you can't see. And I've been hit with infrasound a couple of times out there. We've been turned around a bunch of times, and we've had like a lot of our batteries go dead. Like we'll be walking through the woods trying to make it to a trail, and we'll be in the middle of nowhere, and all our batteries will just go dead. And then we got to sit there in the dark and put new batteries in and try to get to that path to get out. Because once we get to that path, we're okay. But sometimes when you're in that deep woods and you're in between the locations and your lights go out, that's why I keep glow sticks just as an emergency. If the battery stuff, all my batteries are dead, nothing else. If all else fails, I know I got that glow sticks for ambient light, and it gives off just enough light to see where you're going, so you don't trip and kill yourself.
Do you night vision too?
Fantastic.
Do I have my what?
Do you use night vision?
Oh yeah, I bring
night vision goggles and stuff like that.
I do have night vision goggles. I do have a thermal camera. I have the full spectrum camera. I got all the stuff, you know what I mean? all the bells and whistles once we get out there and we set up.
Mhm.
But when you're hiking in and out, I don't use the night vision goggles to hike in and out of. You know what I mean? I just put the headlamps on and I go with that because
Mhm.
my headlamps are really like 500 lumens. They're really powerful, so
Yeah.
they light up a lot. But like I said, worst case scenario, I always have a couple of packs of glow sticks in the bag, and just to get us out to at least a road or a path to get us home. And sometimes
Mhm.
we'll get to the path, and instead of going right, we'll go left. And we know and I know I'm going the wrong way. And I stop and I turn around and say, no, we got to go this way. And we'll start heading out. And then for some reason, we'll turn around and we'll head the other way again.
Mhm.
It's crazy how when it hits you with this infrasound, how it makes you so confused. And
Wow.
it really confuses the hell out of you. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you go any when you go out? Do you just go? Can you go for UFOs also? Just go to a location and throw some telescopes up with cameras. Do you do that, or you just?
I don't do any sky watching a friend of mine. I got a friend of mine who's got cameras. They can see the alien bases on the moon. You know what I mean? But I could, what we'll do is if we're going to do a CE5, we'll put it out there, and
Mhm.
hopefully we'll get a group of people to come in. We like to have at least 20 people, all like-minded,
Mhm.
and then we'll go to a dark location and we'll, put that consciousness intent out there and see what
Mhm.
comes in. We've been very lucky. We did a CE5 one time at Pine Bush. We had the chief of police there and a camera crew from Germany hanging out with us. There was about 100 people in the field, and we had a UFO come in and do maneuvers that just blew everybody's mind. And at the end of the night, it did flashes. I was doing like a Morse code with my tactical flashlight,
Mhm.
and it was doing it back. And every time it flashed, it got brighter and brighter. And I think the last time it was so bright, the whole town lit up. It looked like it was daytime. People were just going absolutely nuts. The German camera crew was losing their mind. They couldn't believe it. That Monday, the person who ran the UFO fair at the time called me that Monday and said, "What the hell did you guys do Saturday night in the park?" And I said, "Well, this was a UFO fair, right? We brought a UFO in." She goes, "My phone hasn't stopped ringing all goddamn day."
Yeah.
I was like, well, just think about it. We have thousands and thousands of people here, all with the same intention: UFOs, aliens. There's not a better place to do a CE5 than a location like that.
That was my phone. I have no idea. Yeah. But that's interesting, with the UFOs out there. I get
Yeah.
Pine Bush. I mean,
But it doesn't have to be Pine Bush. We've done it in so many different locations. We've done in Hastings along the Hudson River at the
Mhm.
library there. We've done it. We've done it in Yonkers. We've done it up here. We've done it all over the place. And like I said, we've been pretty lucky. Most of the time, we get something come in. I don't know if it's just who we are that our energy attracts them, or if it's all of our combined energy of the whole group that that intention is out there in the universe calling them in.
I always say that people who have abilities, which you do, especially if you have a bunch of people and I think that people who do have abilities connect to people who have abilities. So like all of us who go to Gettysburg, Anthony, I think you can agree with me on this one, you tend to find each other and you can you group together. So I think if you're with a bunch of people who also have abilities, you'll draw in whatever energies are out there. So I think that is true, that you'll see a lot of that. What is the most active place you've ever been to?
Oh man, I've been to so many places. It seems like everywhere we go is active.
But like,
I don't
what's the
know.
most after? Where's the one place that you've seen the most?
Well, the one place we've seen the most was a location up here where one night we had Bigfoot, Dogman. Like I was telling you, we had Bigfoot, Dogman, time space continuum, drone, gnomes, and fairies all in the same night. You know what I mean? So I mean, but it's a place of high strangeness. It has they used to mine uranium there, weapons grade uranium, and they used to refine it at the lake, and there was a facility blew up and went into the lake, and there's always been Native Americans talk about the UFOs mining there before the white man was here. So what are UFOs mining uranium as well? I don't know. We have UFOs mining, sucking up the water out of the lake. Is that because the water is radioactive? I don't know. You know, yeah. Oh, there's ley lines there. Oh, ley lines run across it. Like without a doubt, there's ley lines. There's aquifers. There's veins of quartz crystal that run all through it. It's like I said, it's all of this is amping it up. Yeah. So this place is a place of high strangers where you could run into anything at any time. My psychic said she has never felt energy any place she's ever been like this place, because of all of the stuff that's there all at the same time, you know, and so I mean, that's the most active as far as having all of these crazy experiences, you know what I mean, from one extreme to the other. Of course, the night we went out was Hallows Eve. There was a full moon, and there was a meteor shower on top of that. So we had
more stuff together that
right.
I mean, like all the stuff you saw and what was putting it together.
And that's the reason why I picked that night to do it. You know what I mean? Because everything was lining up, the stars were lining up. You know, so that's the reason why I picked that night. But I mean, yeah. So I mean, this area is just off the charts, just off the charts. I mean, like I said, this place is Dutchess County is so haunted. Like I said, the Dutch labeled it the Devil's Playground because of all the paranormal experience elements up here, you know. So
the Dutchess County, Miss Fanny house. And that's I've done that place.
I've done that place 3 times. Crazy.
Place, Maureen, the woman there actually collects oddities. So you'll go in there and there'll be like bombing machines. That, you know, embalming machines.
Okay.
There'd be tables for where they have autopsies and all kinds of stuffed animals and Ouija boards all over the place. And
where
dolls.
is this?
It's in Dutchess County. Miss
Fanny's Victorian Party House. That's what it's called.
Fanny's Victorian Party House.
Miss Fanny's Victorian Party House. Yes.
I have to get there. I love it.
Quick story before we go. I was there one time, and the coffee table is a casket, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all the women are sitting on the couch behind the coffee table. I'm sitting in the chair right next to it, and a black cat comes out of the kitchen, and I go to pet it, and it ducks its tail down so it won't let me touch it, you know, like cats do, and it runs underneath the coffee table, which is a casket. So when everybody broke up for the night to go to different locations of the house, I told the women who were sitting on the couch, be careful when you get up, you don't step on the cat. And Julia, the woman who owns the house, says, Al, what cat? I said, your cat ran underneath the coffee table. She says, I don't own a cat. I was like, no. I just seen a black cat run by. So I went to pet it and it ducked its tail. Like I got cats, and that's what they do. They pull their tail down if they don't want you to. I said it went underneath. She goes, no, it must have been the woman who had the house before me. She was a cat lover. So it was the first ghost cat I ever seen in my life. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That place is crazy. That place.
I have ghost cats here, but they're mine.
We've lost a lot of cats over the years in this house. I have never seen one or heard one, even my dog.
Close the mirror.
But my cats, the cats I do have that I have now, yeah, because of the mirror. The cats I have now.
They're all in the mirror now.
my cats are always playing
With
with
the rings.
somebody. They're chasing somebody around. I don't know if it's the other cats that pass. I got like a pet cemetery in the woods behind my house from
Yeah.
all the animals over the years we lived here.
The cat's inside the mirror with your rings.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are.
Maybe on their tails.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the tip of their tails. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that place, all my electronics. I had my walkie-talkies that night when I was there, actually going off, and everybody's sitting with me. It was like, and somebody's talking, and I had we was three of us with walkie-talkies, and all three of us were standing together, and we had the walkie-talkies on our hips, and they were going off, and all of them were saying the same thing. It was like, where was that? You know, and it was somebody talking. You couldn't make out what they were saying, but they was talking.
Yeah.
Well, that place was awesome.
Yeah, I did a thing in there with a walkie-talkie last winter. Did something in there with walkie-talkies and an Estes experiment. It was just
Yes, I
off
like
the
that.
charts. Off the
I love
charts.
the Estes experiment.
Oh,
And
we did that. We just did that, and I'm going to use the I just did that. We just did that experiment. Me, Ron Lourdes, and Giuseppe went to Hinsdale House,
Oh, okay.
and we did that with his the Staticom stuff that him and Tony are doing now,
Okay.
and we got really good, and we did with that and wireless mics and everything. So it turned out to be really, because that's the first time we ever did it with that. With Staticom, because you usually do it with the Spirit Box and stuff like that, SB7s. But yeah, it was SB7s or the S Box.
Yeah. No, I mean, we didn't have a DVR set up that night to filming the person. So the people who were up on the third floor asking the questions were asking the questions through the walkie-talkie.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear the questions, but because I had the earmuffs on, but what I heard in my earmuffs, I would relate back through the walkie-talkie to people upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went upstairs after the session, because at one point I had like 100 voices coming through at once, I had to tap out. You know what I mean? It was just too much. Yeah. And when I went upstairs and asked them if we did all right, they were like jumping through the ceiling. They were so excited. Everything that they asked, they got intelligent replies back. So. It was a crazy night. Yeah, it was good night. That place is amazing. It never ceases to disappoint me. Like I said, I've been there 3-4 times, and every single time I've been there, we've always had action there.
Yeah, that's an interesting place. Well, yeah, the SC that we did it at well, we're going to the Conjuring House next month, so we're gonna be doing it there. We did it at Hinsdale, Chrysler Mansion. We did it 2 locations, and we had 2 different spirits arguing with each other.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was interesting. Good. It was a male and a female, so that's a great experiment, and I'm a big believer on it. So
yeah, no, I love it. I absolutely love it. When we were at Zaffis and everybody that night, we tried to do something like that, where They put me in this like a black dark room. They had a portable dark room, and they put me in the dark room. And Tim gave me his recorder, and they were asking questions, and I didn't have anything on. I mean, I had earphones on, but I wasn't using an SB7 Spirit Box. I was just doing it like mental telepathy kind of thing,
Yeah.
And John Zaffis actually said that's the way it's supposed to be done. That's the traditional way. You're supposed to use like a psychic. I said, I don't claim to be psychic by any stretch of the imagination, but that's the way we did it. They just happened to have like a portable dark room in his house, which was perfect for the Estes experiment. Nobody wanted to go in it because it was like a little dark, and I was like, I'll go in.
But what location was that?
That was up at the museum we just did with the girls from Full Moon Paranormal. There was
yeah.
We did, and John was there. John showed up. He was like a surprise guest. He just popped in.
Yeah, he does that.
He does it all the time.
Yeah, Bob and Robert and his wife were there, and God, I can't think of everybody else who was there. But there was a bunch of people there, but it was all investigators. There was
I
no
know Tim was there.
Yeah, Tim was there. Rich was there.
Mhm.
There were no outside guests. Everybody who was there was an investigator. You know.
Full Moon does that. I've been on a couple of their stuff. They only bring people that investigate, no outsiders.
Well, sometimes they do. They do outsiders. You know, if they're trying to raise money for a location. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Lisa said to me, "I want to do something with just investigators, and I don't want to have to cater to anybody. So everybody could just do their own thing, you know."
Mhm.
And like I said, that particular night, I went all old school. I had a Polaroid camera, I had a 35 millimeter camera, I had the dowsing rods, I had the quartz crystal pendulum, I had the compass, I had a little mini cassette recorder, you know, the old fashioned Sony's.
Yep. I got one of those too.
I did. I used all old stuff. When I pulled it out, when I was pulling the stuff out of my bag, John Zaffis looked at me and said, "What is this, 1975?" I was like, you know, I said, I'm just so tired of all the ITC stuff and all the digital artifacts you get with the digital recorders. You always get some kind of digital noise, you know, artifacts. Never mind the photographs with the pareidolia. People see stuff in these digital cameras, photographs that aren't there. If it's not in the photograph, if it's not on the negative, then it's not there. You know what I mean? And that's what I love about that stuff, you know? So.
Yeah.
Well, Al, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Believe me, I had a great time. I had a ball. I wish the camera feed would have worked better, but, you know, I'm glad the audio worked great anyway. And,
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for having me. I was honored to be here. Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
And you have great stories, and you're
we didn't even touch the tip of the iceberg, believe me.
Hey, you can come back again anytime. You're a great guest.
Well, whenever you want me, you got me. How about that?
Absolutely.
Maybe next time we can see you.
Huh?
Next time we can see you.
Yeah.
Hopefully next time. Like I said, sometimes if we get storms up here, the StreamYard just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I even have an Ethernet cable connected to my right from the thing to the computer, and it still doesn't work. You know what I mean? So I don't know what else to do. I gotta talk to my partner Brian. He's a tech guy. See what he can come up with for me to jack up my stream or whatever I have to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna have that same problem in PA when I go start doing it up there.
Yeah.
Well, we can't wait to see you when we get to Gettysburg.
Yeah, I'd love to come and hang out with you guys too.
Do you have a table, or are you just gonna be walking around?
I'm not sure if Brian got a table. I know he was talking to Pam about doing a CE5 that night with all the paranormal investigators and stuff. If they were being out in the parking lot or something, I don't know where he wants to do it, but so
well,
I mean,
maybe you could come inside if she's nice.
Well, yeah, like I said, I don't know. No, you don't want the aliens coming in. No, leave the aliens outside.
We've been waiting all this time for them.
No, believe me, they've been here to my house many occasions, and they know where I live. So, yeah, you rather them be outside than in, believe me.
Well, I was in their abode, so I think we're okay.
Okay.
But yeah, so we'll see, unless we see you before that, we'll see you in July.
Okay.
It was great having you. It was a lot of fun. Your stories are amazing, and everybody seemed to really love having you with us as well. So we'll allow you back.
Thank you, and I'm glad you enjoyed that.
It was nice to meet you.
That's nice to meet you too, kiddo.
Yeah. And I'll probably see you out on an investigation somewhere along the line.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna bang into each other some point, Anthony. Absolutely.
Yeah, like like I said, we'll probably bang into each other if it's not an investigation. Might just to be hanging out,
Yeah, whatever. It's all good.
Yeah. So thank
All
you
right.
for coming on. You know, we had a
Oh,
great time,
again,
and I hope you had a good time, and the audience will have a good time, and that's all it's all about.
I'm honored. I'm honored. You asked me to come on. You know, so anything. I was very honored to come in. Absolutely.
I'm so happy you know you were here. Really, you made
Well, not
yourself.
really here.
Yeah, it's the closest I could get to being here. Absolutely.
This is the paranormal part. You can hear them, but you don't see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a joke.
You know,
Yeah, I wish
disembodied
goddamn.
voices here. You know.
So
Disembodied voices.
next week, we are honored enough to have Carl Harrison of Ghost MD with us on Thursday from 7:30 to 9:30 as usual. And this is Dimensions of the Supernatural with Maureen Grodzinski, Anthony Simonelli, and Al Santoriga. And again, go for it.
I'm going to say good night, and good night, good night, good night, and forget about it. Ew.
We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Thanks for being with us.